Here are the top stories for today, January 15, 2020. The Batangas provincial government reports no casualties in the eruption of Taal volcano. President Duterte hails the government's response to Taal volcano's eruption. The House of Representatives jointly craft a rehabilitation plan for areas affected by Taal volcano. And Batangueños unite amidst Taal volcano's eruption to aid their troubled neighbors. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Despite the severe damage brought by the eruption of Taal volcano, no casualties have been recorded in Batangas as of Tuesday. The provincial government assured that relief operations are in full swing as authorities observe the volcano for signs of further activity. Teresa Montemayor has this report.
The provincial government of Batangas on Tuesday said there is no recorded casualty in Batangas province amid the volcano eruption of Taal volcano so far. Batangas Provincial Administration Levy di Maunahan attributed the zero casualties to the early warnings for residents living near Taal Island, noting that being prepared has helped to keep their constituents out of harm's way. The local government is now in the relief operations stage following the evacuation of residents from different towns in Batangas. Meanwhile, residents near Taal volcano have been advised to brace for the possible devastation of their homes in the event that the volcano's hazardous explosive eruption begins. PHIVOLCS Director Renato Solidum said if Alert Level 5 is raised, the next round of volcanic activity will lead to devastation. On Sunday, PHIVOLCS was prompted to raise the alert level to 4 or intense unrest following the increased number and intensity of volcanic tremors occurring under the restive Taal volcano. Amid Taal volcano's increased activity, Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo appealed to the affected residents to comply with the government's safety measures. The palace official hoped that those who are living in Batangas and Cavite would realize that the government merely wants to save them from any danger. Assistant Secretary Casiano Manila, Office of Civil Defense Deputy Administrator for Operations, meanwhile guaranteed that animals of evacuees are part of the government's disaster plan. People for Ethical Treatment of Animals announced on Monday that its rescue team is now providing basic food and veterinary care for animals rescued from the harmful effects of the ashfall from the Taal volcano. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Teresa Montemayor.
President Rodrigo Duterte on Tuesday said he was very happy with how the government agencies responded to the eruption of Taal volcano. In a situation briefing at the Batangas Sports Complex, Duterte was pleased that there were no reported deaths and major injuries sustained. He also approved the recommendations of the Department of Science and Technology to mitigate the impact of the volcano's eruption, such as the total evacuation of residents in the Taal Island and high-risk areas. Duterte called anew for the construction of more durable evacuation centers, which could withstand even strong earthquakes. Over 8,000 families have been evacuated from Batangas and Cavite provinces, according to the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council. After the situational briefing, Duterte led the ceremonial distribution of calamity assistance to families taking refuge at the Batangas Provincial Sports Complex.
I am really very pleased, very happy that all agencies are here on hand and trying their best to do their best to help the community. I am very satisfied, I said, with the response of everybody. The fact that no one was killed and that there's nobody really sick.
The Philippine Coast Guard received food packs and other relief goods from the China Coast Guard on Tuesday as support for the ongoing relief efforts in Batangas due to the continuing eruption of Taal volcano. 600 pieces of N95 masks and boxes of food packs were donated by its Chinese counterpart during a cross-deck visit of PCG officials aboard the CCG vessel 5204 as part of the latter's week-long port call in Manila. The PCG continues maritime patrol along Taal Lake to warn local fishermen against fishing in the area amid Taal volcano's eruption and dangerous ash fall. This is aside from evacuation operations, provision of relief goods, and medical assistance to the evacuees. Authorities said Taal volcano's eruption may last from days to several months, with the occurrence of an imminent hazardous eruption possible within the period. The Department of Public Works and Highways on Tuesday said it is conducting an in-depth assessment of national roads and bridges in Batangas following a series of tremors caused by Taal volcano's activity. The DPWH said major cracks appeared along Palico Balayan Batangas Road in Barangay Sinisian East and Barangay Palanas, both in Lemery, Batangas. One of the affected national roads is the Lemery-Taal Diversion Road, which has sustained major cracks and settlement due to ground shake. The DPWH will immediately repair cracks and settlement along affected national roads as soon as full assessment is done. The DPWH also says it has assisted some 16,000 residents affected by the eruption of Taal volcano. DPWH Secretary Mark Villar said the people are now situated in evacuation centers nearest to their vicinity. Some of their personnel earlier evacuated people from Balete, Mataas, Nakahoy, and Cuenca towns. Since the volcanic eruption on Sunday, the DPWH has deployed a total of 302 personnel and 66 equipment to assist affected communities in Batangas. The public is warned against eating fish caught from Taal Lake. Meanwhile, government employees affected by Taal volcano's eruption are given emergency leaves. More on these and other news from Benj Bondoc.
The Department of Health on Tuesday advised the public to refrain from buying and eating fish from Taal Lake and Batangas Province. Those who might accidentally eat fish from Taal Lake and nearby provinces can experience stomach pain, vomiting, and diarrhea due to contamination by chemicals from the volcano. Victims who experience symptoms are advised to rehydrate and get hospitalized. Meanwhile, government employees affected by the eruption of Taal volcano are reminded that they can avail of the special 5-day emergency leave. The Civil Service Commission says the special leave may be used for the urgent repair and cleanup of a damaged house, being stranded in affected areas, diseases brought by natural calamity, or caring of immediate family members affected by a disaster. The emergency leave may be availed of by the affected employees within 30 days from the first day of calamity declaration by proper government agencies or authorities. In other news, the Department of Social Welfare and Development in Bicol has sent some 5,000 emergency family food packs for the victims of Taal volcano's eruption. The relief goods on board 5 container trucks left Monday afternoon bound for the Batangas Sports Complex. The Department of Health Bicol also sent N95 masks and medicines to the victims. Also, the Department of Public Works and Highways in the region donated generators and water to the residents affected by the volcanic eruption. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Bondoc.
Still to come, the House of Representatives jointly craft a rehabilitation plan for areas affected by Taal volcano. Batangueños unite amid Taal volcano's eruption to aid their troubled neighbors. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Halfway through the 6-year term of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, much has already been done. But the administration continues to push the envelope to bring about true and lasting change and leave behind a legacy that will continue to benefit our country and our people for generations to come.
Pagkatapos ng lindol, alamin kung nagkaroon ka ng pinsala, gayon din ang iyong mga kasamahan. Mag-ingat sa mga basag na salamin at iba pang bagay na makakasugat. Magsuot ng matibay na sapatos para hindi masugatan ang inyong paa. Lumayo sa mga dalampasigan. Posible ang pagkakaroon ng tsunami kapag huminto na sa pagyanig ang lupa. Kung kayo ay nasa paaralan o trabaho, sundin ang emergency plan. Posible ang pagkakaroon ng aftershocks o mga pagyanig, kaya manatiling kalmado at sundin ang mga alituntunin para manatili kayong ligtas. Tignan ang mga linya ng tubig, gas at kuryente kung may sira. Kung meron, isarado agad ang switch o valve. Kung may amoy ng gas, buksan lahat ng mga bintana at pinto. Magmadaling lumabas at i-report sa mga kinauukulan. Nakasaad ang hotlines ng mga ahensya na maaaring tawagan kapag may emergency o krisis. Isang paalala para masiguradong ligtas sa pagdating ng lindol.
The House of Representatives is set to develop a comprehensive rehabilitation plan to help areas in Batangas, Cavite, and Laguna severely affected by the continuous volcanic activity of Taal. Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano on Tuesday said the chamber could come up with plans to restore and rehabilitate affected areas to reinvigorate tourism and business the soonest time possible. Cayetano noted that a total of 16 billion pesos have been allocated in the 2020 national budget for the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Fund, part of which could be used for relief, rehabilitation, and reconstruction. The speaker called for bayanihan and volunteerism as he lamented the loss of livelihood and damage to shelters to families living near the volcano. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or PHIVOLCS, earlier said prolonged eruptions of up to 7 months could be the worst-case scenario for the volcano's intense activities. In our business news, the National Economic and Development Authority, or NEDA, expects the country's poverty rate to be halved by the end of the DUTERTE administration's term in 2022. This is in line with a more ambitious target reduction of poverty incidence to 11% from the original 14% by 2022. Statistics show the country's poverty incidence dropped to a 16.6% in 2018, averaging a reduction of 2.23 percentage points per year, making the previous target achievable by mid-2022. NEDA Secretary Ernesto Pernia said the government must continue to generate more quality jobs, increase the income of the poor, reduce vulnerability through social programs and financial literacy, and implement the national program on population and family planning. He further said it is important to have programs that will encourage savings to increase people's resilience to disasters and protect against unexpected income losses or expenses. As state volcanologists expect more volcanic activity in Taal, Batangas, the church turns to prayer for the safety of those affected by the said eruption. Father Aladin Luzon, a member of the Order of St. Augustine and who oversees the Basilica Minore del Santo Niño security, offered on Tuesday a prayer for those displaced by the eruption of Taal volcano. In his prayer aired over the radio, Luzon prayed that through the mercy of God, the people affected in Taal may get back on their feet despite the adversities. He said that God can be felt and experienced by victims of the catastrophe through the help of other people. Father Socrates Saldua, in his homily during the 10 a.m. Novena Mass at the Basilica's Pilgrim Center, reminded churchgoers that calamities may strike to remind humanity that there are things or events that are not under man's control. Earlier, Bishop Ruperto Santos of the Diocese of Batangas said he will ask their priests to recite a special prayer during Holy Masses. Under the diocese are parishes in the towns of Dinalupihan, Hermosa, Orani, Samal, Abukay, Pilar, Orion, Limay Mariveles, Bagak and Morong, and Batangas City. Amid the destruction caused by the eruption of Taal volcano, Batangueños stepped up to the challenge of aiding their own neighbors. Residents in the safer parts of the province were quick to welcome and help evacuees. Laid Kabagani has this story.
Taal volcano's magmatic eruption on Sunday brought out the kindness and generosity in people in the neighboring areas of the affected municipalities in Batangas. Santo Tomas, San Pascual, and Batangas City were safer grounds for residents who evacuated from their communities. Residents of San Pascual welcomed more than 500 individuals from Balisong, Agoncillo, and Lemery, where they stayed at the San Antonio Elementary School. The evacuees were served arroz caldo or chicken rice porridge and boxes of water. At the corner of the school's covered court, people were busy preparing for packs of foods. For them, the physical efforts and financial assistance were nothing compared to the comfort they could extend to those who needed their support. In times of catastrophes, no one will help people but their own neighbors. The evacuees said they witnessed the spirit of bayanihan as the residents welcomed them. At the height of the disaster, different state agencies and non-government organizations extended support to the victims of Taal's unrest. Philippine Red Cross Chairman and CEO Senator Richard Gordon ordered the immediate mobilization of teams and PRC assets to aid in an ongoing evacuations of residents affected by the eruption of the Taal volcano. Meanwhile, Mark Leandro Mendoza of the Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary Southern Tagalog District said their organization has conducted an assessment to monitor the needs of the evacuees and extend whatever support they can. Mendoza said the evacuees are in need of more packed foods, water, sleeping kits, and face masks to protect them from the hazardous effects of the ashfall. He said PCGA Southern Tagalog is open for the donation from other organizations and is willing to assist them in the distribution. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Laid Kabagani.
Up next, the DOH intensifies the provision of medicines and supplies in response to the eruption of Taal volcano. And PCOO Secretary Martin Andanar sends his condolences for the death of broadcaster Twink Macaraig. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
With 7,641 islands, the Philippines will never be short on fun.
Together, even small acts can make a big difference when it comes to preserving our country's treasures.
Let's
save
our spots.
You can plan a pretty picnic, but remember to keep the park clean. Toss your trash in the right bin.
Photos with locals are cool, so make it a habit to ask for their permission first before snapping that story. Respect for our culture and for our people should always come first.
Leave nothing but footprints and take nothing but selfies, especially when it comes to shells, starfish, and sand.
Crafts and folk art are a large part of our culture. When you buy our products, you help keep our traditions alive.
Remember that whale sharks are wild animals and the water is their world. Respect their personal space. Don't touch, feed, or startle these majestic creatures.
Practice zero-waste principles by the beach. Bring a reusable water bottle and skip single-use plastics.
Even the tiniest piece of plastic can end up inside a marine animal's belly. If you see litter on the beach, pick it up.
These streets were made for walking, so put on your comfiest pair of sneakers. Our heritage sites are best enjoyed on foot.
Help preserve the environment, especially for our sea turtles. Let's follow site rules. Take the parties off the beach so we can leave our nighttime nesters in peace.
All our waste ends up in the water. Break those bad bathroom habits. Reuse your hotel towels, bring your own toiletries, and say no to sachets. We can prevent coral bleaching by using reef-safe sunscreen. Also, a gentle reminder not to touch, kick, or stand on the corals.
Traveling is about exploring places,
Meeting people.
And experiencing things the right way.
When we treat our destinations with respect,
We make sure our future generations
Get to enjoy traveling too.
Let's pledge to be more mindful travelers.
Let's pledge to make our destinations more fun forever.
Let's pledge to save our spots.
The Department of Health, or DOH, has augmented the resources of its regional offices in response to the recent Taal volcano eruption. Health Secretary Francisco Duque III said the department has augmented the resources of its regional offices in response to the recent Taal volcano eruption. Among those they sent were medicines such as eye drops and asthma medication, medical supplies, collapsible water containers and jerry cans, water purification tablets, and hygiene kits. The DOH also reminded the public to keep their noses and mouths covered to avoid asthma triggers and other respiratory diseases due to ashfall. The DOH said volcanic ash can also harm the eyes, advising the public to avoid going outdoors unless during emergencies. Meanwhile, while there is still a need for residents living near Taal volcano to wear the N95 masks and other protective gear, Metro Manila residents don't necessarily need to follow suit. The DOH said the N95 mask is prescribed to be used by residents living in Batangas, Cavite, Laguna, Quezon, and other areas badly affected by Taal volcano's eruption. Travel in other parts of Luzon remains safe and accessible amid Taal volcano's eruption on Sunday, which enveloped parts of Calabarzon region with ashfall. The Department of Tourism expressed hope on the recovery of Calabarzon and its tourism industry, just as it has demonstrated in the past. The DOT's former concern at the moment is public safety, including tourists affected by this event. The agency said the tourism industry in the affected areas, particularly in Tagaytay City, have suffered a tremendous setback. Records from the DOT showed Batangas as the region's top destination for overnight tourists, with arrivals in 2018 reaching over 2.5 million. Taal remains at alert level 4. Communications Secretary Martin Andanar offered his condolences to the family of veteran journalist Twink Macaraig, who passed away on Tuesday after a long battle with cancer. Andanar hailed Macaraig for facing adversities with smiles and laughter and for continuing her duty and passion for journalism despite her years-long battle with cancer. He said Macaraig's free thinking would always be remembered by the entire nation. News 5 confirmed in a Facebook post the death of Macaraig, who first battled cancer in the early 2000s. Macaraig served as a news anchor for television networks TV5 and ABS-CBN. She was also known for her columns published in the Philippine Star and Esquire Philippines. She was also the Filipino bureau chief of Channel News Asia. Macaraig also became a part-time faculty lecturer at the University of the Philippines College of Mass Communication. And here's the latest in our community billboard. ASIS WOW, or the World Mission Society Church of God, is inviting everyone to its cleanup event titled the 6,310th Worldwide Cleanup Campaign ASIS WOW Take Action Project. The activity is part of the church's environmental campaign against plastic waste in the Pacific Ocean. The cleanup will be held on January 19, Sunday in Barangay Malinta, Valenzuela City. Participants will include ASIS WOW members from Valenzuela City, South Korea, and local officials and residents of Barangay Malinta. There will also be an educational campaign on environmental protection and youth volunteerism. Interested parties may visit the World Mission Society Church of God in Barangay Karuhatan, Valenzuela City, or contact the number shown on the screen. And here's another look at today's biggest stories. The Batangas provincial government reports no casualties in the eruption of Taal volcano. President Duterte hails the government's response to Taal volcano's eruption. The House of Representatives jointly craft a rehabilitation plan for areas affected by Taal volcano. And Batangueños unite amidst Taal volcano's eruption to aid their troubled neighbors. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check out more news content, check our webpage or head on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day.